Hey, and welcome back. Before we move on to the knights, I wanted to just play one blitz game against my friend, who is a beginner, and I will talk about the mistakes and everything, what I think about the game. Mm, yes, I will share this with you. So let's challenge him. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, we are black, and he started with e4. Okay. We're going to play the Caro-Kann. So far so good. Let's see what he plays. Mm, I'll make this an 8-minute game to give him some time to think. So I hope he will not make any big blunders. Okay, so d3, an interesting move. I think he doesn't know the opening theory well, because if he does, then he would play probably d4 in this position and transpose into the main lines. But this is also okay here. Um, for now, we'll see what he plays next. Now I have options like d4 and d takes e4. I don't know which one is better. If I take this pawn, then he's probably going to take with his knight, because if he does that, I'll just take his queen, and since I'm black, this is pretty fine for me. But he's going to take with the knight. I can push this pawn, but then he will move somewhere. Let's say he can move back and then try to play c3, challenge the center. And when I defend my pawn with the e5, then he can play f4, just looking for pawn breaks. So I'm going to take this pawn, and okay, he took it with a pawn, and I think this is a mistake, because this allows me to just exchange queens, which is pretty good for me because this structure here is pretty solid that I have, and yeah, it just looks pretty good for me. I'm just going to develop my bishop and then close this pawn structure and also develop my bishop. Okay, so he attacked my bishop with f3, which is okay, but this pawn is kind of the way for this knight, so this knight can't jump here anymore unless he plays a move such as f4. For now, I will just go to h5. I know that this bishop here doesn't look very active. I will try to make him active, and we'll see how it works. Okay, so he has more time than I have. I use that time for explanation. Okay, so b3. This looks like a pretty good move. He's going to fianchetto his bishop, and this bishop, like we talked in the bishop video, is going to be active and useful on this open diagonal. So now we're just going to play e6, trying to develop our own bishop. And okay, he did that. This was a pretty good idea. Now we're going to develop our knight. We could also develop this knight. It's also good. Okay, now I don't like this move. And why I don't like this move? Because now he just helped me with my bishop problem. When I go there, this bishop is going to be pretty active, and also I can target this pawn by playing, let's say, knight to g6, uh, and also, yeah, playing knight to g6. So first thing I'm going to do is, yes, I'm just going to attack this pawn right away. I think this is the best thing to do here. If he plays bishop to d3, um, then I'm going to play bishop to g6, because if I play knight here, then he will just trap my bishop, if you can see that far. Yeah, so we'll see. I I already really like my position here, but why I like my position? This pawn is going to become a target, and this is a very solid structure here. Um, okay, so as you can see, I still can't play this because he's going to trap my bishop. So right now I'm just going to mm, I'm just going to castle now. Okay, he castled too, which is fine. Uh, and now I'm going to play h6. So I played h6 to hide there with my bishop and then play knight to g6. It looks a bit slow, but mm, I don't see a better future for this bishop, so I decided to do this. Okay, I also have to think about this bishop. Okay, he played g4, which I also don't really like, because um, okay, he's expanding here, but he's leaving behind weak squares and also weak pawns. Um, because every time you move a pawn, you leave squares behind, and you have to remember this. Okay, so he's really expanding on the queen side. Okay, I'm just going to continue my plan. He should probably develop his pieces first, and I don't know, maybe double rooks on the d file. Uh, okay, so now when I play knight to g6, I actually don't see a way how he's going to defend this pawn, because I'm attacking it twice and he's attacking it once. He can play knight here or knight here. I mean, if he plays knight here, then I have this move, probably just okay. So he decided to give me a pawn, or he just didn't see it, I don't know. But this is pretty good for me because I mean it's a free pawn, so I'm just going to take it. But with which pawn? Oh, but with which knight? I think I'm going to take it with this knight here. And now he can exchange the bishops if he wants. My rook is going to be a little awkward placed, but it's not a big deal here. I will activate it by just taking. This is just going to be an annoying pin for him. Okay, we're a little bit low on time, but it's okay. Next thing, we're going to develop our bishop to. Yeah, we have to think about this. This e7 square is pretty good, but if we put it on the c5 square is probably better, more active, and causing some problems to his position. So we're probably going to put it on the c5 square, but we also have to be careful about moving our knight, because he could take our pawn here. Okay, so this is another move that I don't like, because I'm going to take his bishop with my knight, and I have the bishop pair, which is very good, and I'm going to talk about this in another video. And he also got an isolated pawn, which is a weakness now, because there's not much pieces on the board. So I still have to be careful about this pawn here. But now I think I can play knight to c5 and just triple attack this pawn, and he's defending it only once. So it's going to be hard to defend this pawn. He's probably going to push it. But then I have this check, if you can see that far. And when he moves, I'm going to take his bishop, and I'm going to have two bishops against two knights, which is oftentimes just winning, because bishop pair is extremely powerful. You will probably see why. I'm going to show you. So let's see what he does. He doesn't really have a lot of options. His probably best move is just to play this. I don't see other ways. In this position, other moves. So now I'm of course very happy with my position. I'm a pawn up, and also this pawn is very weak here. I mean, if he doesn't move it, then I'm just going to take it and be two pawns up, which is, I mean, it's already winning now, but you have to show some skill to win this game. So he's really taking a long time here to think. Um, so I hope he's going to play something smart. And at the end, we're also going to just do a quick analysis of the whole game. So you and him can learn from it, right? Uh, Make your next game better. Okay, so I will give him a little bit of time just in case, because I don't want to just I don't want him to lose on time here. Okay, so he moved with his king, and this is a very bad move if you ask me, because he just put his king to a pin. You never ever do that, because now when I'm going to take this pawn, and when I move my rook, when I move my knight, he's going to be in check, so he would have to move his king, and I would take his rook, or his other rook. So this is even worse than it was, and I also won a pawn. So this position is just winning for me. This is over, but he has to he has to play on. Okay, so he moved out of the pin, which is smart, because being on a pin would result, in a lot of problems. So here I could take a pawn, but I think I'm just going to take the bishop and just be two pawns up with a bishop pair. Okay, so he took my rook first, and now he's going to take the knight. Alright. So now we're a little bit low on time, but it's just okay. We're going to develop our black squared bishop finally. We should develop our dark squared bishop um, way before, but we had other things to do and we simply didn't have time to do this, and we had more important plans. Okay, so of course I'm not going to take this knight because the bishop pair is very good. And now I'm just going to play. I'm not going to castle here because in the endgame you want to be as close as possible with your king to the center. We will talk about this in endgame series. And this king is also not in danger because this pawn is really protective here. And this one also. He can't give me any annoying checks, and this is just a very satisfying move to play. And just bring your rook to an open file so the rook can be active. This is a pretty good plan here. Mm, I mean, I also could take the knight, but why if I have a bishop pair? Okay, so now we're just going to bring our rook to an open file. He's defending really passively here. He just moved his rook here to defend his knight, which is not the best. He should probably just move the knight if he could, because now this rook is just protecting a knight and that's all. Um, it's this rook is not very active, and now he has to be careful, of course, for this move. Check, and then I just take his knight, which would be completely losing. So yes, he has to watch for these tactics. This is just a losing position for white. Um, I mean, 2 pawns less in an endgame. This is really decisive advantage. Mm, so I can't talk about this position really a lot anymore. Okay, so I'm going to just pin his knight to the rook. Mm, and okay, this was a blunder. I can just take his rook here. Maybe he's probably playing for the time, so my time so I would lose some time. Okay, so I created another pin, which is very annoying, and he just moved away, which is not a smart move, but it's basically over in this position, so it doesn't really matter. Um, okay, we don't have to play this anymore, but let's just let's just finish it. Okay. Okay, I would have to tell him that in this position um, we oftentimes resign, but it's okay if he doesn't resign. I mean, you have to fight till the end. Okay, so good game. We're going to analyze this game now. Um, we're going to quickly analyze it. Okay, good game. Gotta go. Okay, so we can see the opening. He should know his opening. If he plays e4, then he should know what to play against c6. I'm going to tell him that, and um, if he's watching this video, then this is a reminder to always know your openings against all of the responses. So he played knight to c3 here, which is an unusual move, unless he played like here d4 and transpose into the main line Caro-Kann or to the two knights variation. But d3 looks okay. Maybe I should push my pawn here, but I took it, and I expected him to take my pawn with his knight, but he took it with a pawn, which gave me, I think, a little advantage in the position, because with white you most often don't want to exchange queens. You want to keep the queens on the board and attack. Okay, so f3 here probably wasn't the best. Mm, just It's just in a way for this knight, but it's true that it's also keeping my bishop a little bit passive. Okay, I like this move b3, just putting that bishop on a long diagonal. I just developed my pieces, and now this move I didn't really like. He just closed his bishop and make this pawn a little weakness, and also activated my bishop. So this was a really bad move. Okay, I wanted to attack his pawn here, but unfortunately I couldn't because my bishop would hang by the means of g4. So I castled. Oh, alright. I was just confused because in the game I was talking about castling on the king side without knowing that I already castled on the queen side. But okay. So I just he developed his knight to a good square. I like this move, but he should definitely try to look for the outpost for this knight, which I'm going to talk about in the next video about knights. So he should try to play knight to c4 and knight to d6, and you can see this knight is a beast, is very annoying, and if I trade my bishop for this knight, then he's pretty happy, and he has a passed pawn, which he will defend with this moves probably, and this is going to be pretty good. But he didn't do that, and I just castled. He castled, and here I got a plan to just put my bishop here and then play this. So he just attacked my bishop right away. I had to move there. This is the only move. He just tried to attack me even more. I just moved there because this was, of course, my plan. And when this knight moves, my bishop is also going to be free. It's not going to be blockaded anymore. But he played g5, which I didn't really like. Sometimes these moves are pretty good, but in this position I think it's just not, because this square here is just a great outpost for my knight now, because he can't attack my knight with his pawns, and I'm going to talk about that, of course, in another video. But um, this move just doesn't feel right because of this. Uh, this okay. So, but anyway, I played my knight to g6 to attack his pawn, and now he just left this pawn unprotected, or protected only once, which was a mistake, I think. But also, if he played this move or this move, um, I could attack his knight. But okay, if he played this move, then I wouldn't attack him with this move, because he can jump here, or he can play this move. Okay, probably not this move, but I mean he can also jump here. I don't know what I would do about this, but if he went there, I would of course play this move and then just take his pawn with one of the knights. But he just left it, so I took it. I mean, pawn is a pawn, and now he attacked me. This was also a bad move, and I will tell you why. You don't want to just give your bishop away like this, because bishops are known to be just a little better than knights, and um, this is a pretty open position, which favors, of course, bishops, like we talked about, and it doesn't really favor the knights. So I just took that bishop and also gave him an isolated pawn, because he can't take this pawn with a rook, because then I would just take his rook, which is not very good, right? Mm, so now I wanted to first move my bishop, but I saw this problem. My pawn would be unprotected. But then I saw this move, knight to c5, just attacking his pawn. He should move his pawn, so he would not lose it, but I would just check him and take his bishop and just transpose into a winning game. But anyway, he just stepped into a pin, which was a terrible mistake. As you can see, he had to move again. And now I could take his pawn. Um, as you can see, if you're thinking this doesn't really work, um, because he can take my rook, first, and then this knight is only taking one rook, and then he can move his rook there, and it just doesn't work. That's why I just simplified the position and just took his bishop. He traded rooks first, and then he took my knight. Now this is a completely winning game with 2 pawns up. Like I said, just developed my bishop. He defended it passively. Alright, I didn't see this. Maybe he saw this. He can't play his knight here because I can play bishop here, and he has to move the rook, and then I just take the knight. So this was actually an okay move, but it looks really passive, and it's probably not. This position is just bad for white, to be honest. And here I was talking about castling, but okay, I mean, I'm a little bit dumb sometimes, but I played it my king to e7 because it's pretty safe here, and it quickly I quickly get to develop my rook to an open file. So he just developed his knight, which was of course too late. He should develop his knight in somewhere here, probably. Here it would be a pretty good time to develop his knight um, somewhere, but he just left it here untouched for the rest of the game, which it's not good to do. You have to develop your minor pieces in the opening. So here he played knight to c3, just asking for some problems again with this spin, because he can't move the knight because his rook is hanging, and I'm attacking it twice, he's defending it once. In this position he can play just knight here. I think this is the only move. Yeah, I think it's the only move, but he just blundered a rook, and now this is just over. We didn't even have to analyze this. He just blundered another piece, and this was just winning. So we can see that there were a lot of mistakes made by him, and by looking at these mistakes and just trying to make the next game end better, um, trying to improve, this is just going to be very good for your chess career, and it's going to help you a lot from analyzing these games. Thank you guys for watching. If you like my videos, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video about knights. Bye.